Welcome back to the channel from the beautiful city of Athens, where my series of videos from Greece continues. If you saw my video from the Greek island of Corfu, you know that my visit there was the result of a short ferry trip from Albania. But I think it's fair to say that if you're touring Greece, there's no better place to begin your visit than here in the capital. I'm here in the delightful neighborhood of Plaka, not far from the apartment where I'm staying, just soaking up the atmosphere of the street life here. And of course, that's not to mention some of the world's great cultural sites emanating from the city's famous Acropolis, including the Parthenon. So let's get started looking around Athens. I'm in one of Athens' oldest continuously inhabited neighborhoods, Monastiraki, which is named after the building that you see behind me. It's a remnant of a 10th century monastery that was once known in its completion as the Great Monastery. Now it's known as the Little Monastery, which is what Monastiraki means in Greek. The square is perfectly framed by the Acropolis, which you may be able to see behind me. It's one of the city's most popular shopping areas, home to clothing boutiques, souvenir shops, and specialty stores. But it's also popular for another reason, and that is the Athens flea market is just down the street. When you first enter the flea market, it all seems a big jumble. But after a while, a pattern starts to emerge. For example, on the street I'm on now, it's primarily devoted to used books, old LPs, and art supplies. I'm here in another old Athens neighborhood, the Psiri neighborhood, which is gratefully a bit off the tourist map, which gives it an air of authenticity. This place was really an ordinary working neighborhood into the mid-1800s, when after the Greek Republic was formed, many people from other parts of Greece moved into this neighborhood and settled it. And for a time, it was like a headquarters for organized crime figures in the 19th century. And for years now, it has been revived with an active cafe scene during the day and a rip-roaring nightlife after dark. But there's one place here that, well, day or night, you've got to see it.
This is Little Cook's, which began as an Alice in Wonderland themed restaurant that has grown to cover the better part of a city block of fantasy and fun.
Hello.
Παρακαλώ, γεια σας.
Έχω πατήσει Psiri.
Τον ήπιαμε.
Interface, please.
Yeah.
If the city has a center, it's here at Syntagma Square, the nexus of Athens' civic and political life.
Syntagma, by the way, is Greek for constitution, which is the name the square was given, very shrewdly, I might add, by former King Otto in the 1840s. This square has been at the very heart of Athens ever since Athens became the capital of modern Greece. Former royal palace is now the country's parliament building, and not surprisingly, the square has for a long time been, among other things, the country's chief protest venue.
It's also home to an age-old Greek tradition, the changing of the guard at a veterans memorial in front of Parliament. There are reminders of the city's ancient past everywhere in Athens. Here, the 2,000-year-old Hadrian's Gate, seeming irrelevant next to a busy street. Old structures next to newer ones. Modern mid-rises hovering over ancient churches. And Roman ruins discovered by accident during subway excavation. And of course, there's the very emblem of Athens, the Acropolis. Note, if you go, avoid the busy main entrance in favor of the one nearest to the Acropolis metro station. You can thank me later.
Of all the remarkable buildings built on or near the Acropolis, none is more prominent than the Parthenon, built as a temple in honor of the goddess Athena, who was considered the patroness and protector of ancient Greece. Work began on this structure in 447 BC, less than 40 years after an older Parthenon was destroyed by the Persians. In fact, the Parthenon was built in celebration of the gods for their triumph over the Persians. Although the Acropolis has been inhabited for thousands of years, the great structures that adorn this hilltop are from the 5th century BC. It was then, during the so-called Golden Age of Athens, that the general and politician Pericles oversaw construction of these buildings that have enthralled people for centuries. You look around these structures and see how they've been damaged and restored repeatedly over the centuries, and you wonder how it came to be that way. Well, perhaps most significantly was the year 1687, when during a siege of the Acropolis by the Venetians, cannon fire hit the munitions depot stored inside the Parthenon. And of course, the results were devastating. In 1975, a great restoration work started here at the Acropolis. Some of it, such as the temple of Athena Nike has been completed in 2010, while much of it, including inside the Parthenon itself, goes on. In modern terms, it's much like maintaining a major bridge. It's a never-ending work.
Of course, going to Athens and not seeing the Parthenon would be like going to Paris and skipping the Eiffel Tower. The bonus here, the views.
For all the hustle and bustle of Athens, it's not difficult to find nature close by. I'm here in the National Garden, a beautiful park with a really relaxing vibe, just a short hop from Syntagma Square. In the days of the monarchy, this was known as the Royal Gardens, or informally as Amalia Gardens, after the queen and wife of King Otto, the country's first really modern monarch from the 1800s, who had the place built. And people come here now just to chill.
Some people also come here to sing, including these folks struggling to keep the exotic music of ancient Epirus in the north of Greece alive.
Ω μαμά μου εγώ πεθαίνω και δεν ξέρω το γιατί. Μαμά μου εγώ πεθαίνω και δεν ξέρω το γιατί. Έλα, θα το βρεις. Σαν το κάστρο της Αγίος Καστροφένιδα, Καστροφένιδα, κάστρο θεμελιωμένο, κάστρο σανούσο, κάστρο ξαλεξαϊκούστο.
Fortunately, I meet Daphne, a university professor who helps me understand what I'm hearing.
There are many people from Epirus, originating from Epirus, living in Athens, because after the civil war in Greece, the villages up north in Epirus were practically deserted, and many people were moved to Athens for work and for a better life, but they do keep the tradition. So you have many Epirus groups and societies, gatherings, festivities, name days, etc., and they always sing like that. There is one person that sets the tone, the singing, and starts, the song is more like a tale, it tells a story. And the other ones, they play the chorus, like in ancient tragedies. They have the role of the chorus, and sometimes they respond. The song they're singing now is about a castle. The song that they sang before was a love story. So they're singing also in theaters, and now they're making a rehearsal here in the open air. No. Because of COVID, everything stopped, including theaters and everything. So they couldn't do the rehearsals because this is something that you really sing in an open space. So the voices have to be loud. There are villages where they start the song from one village and the other village replies.
Nightfall below the Acropolis, and I'm headed to a special place for sunset. Past the Acropolis Museum, along a cobbled street that, although modern, is where ancients once tread. To this place, known since ancient times as Mars Hill. A big rock where philosophers once gathered, and where the Apostle Paul made a famous speech recorded in the Bible. And where visitors to Athens gather routinely to watch the sun go down.